All right, that's it for my updates.
Okay. All right. What do we got next? Oh, we're gonna. It's not an official review, but given the fact that Nick's been spending some quality time with the Black Knight, they've been getting a little more intimate over the past month. We wanted to go back and revisit Black Knight Sword of Rage and give you an update. Nick's playing it on current code. He's had more in-depth time with the game. So, Nick, why don't you take us through Black Knight Sword of Rage, what you've been thinking
Yeah.
about, if you've been enjoying it or not, etc.
So we did review the game when it came out,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we both gave it like a 7.5, something like that, right, Kev?
Yeah, I can go to the
All
I
right.
can go to the website here.
So I want to do a segment called Black Knight Sword of Rage Revisited. It. Maybe we'll do this for some other games, because code develops and things change or we spend more time on it. And when we do reviews, there's two approaches. Sometimes we do a hot take when we haven't spent much time on it, and then we'll do a review when we at least played enough games. So I wanted to come back to this because now I have it in the home environment. It's easier to dive into the game, to appreciate it when you're not throwing money into it, when you're not in a noisy bar, when you can kind of control the environment and the lighting on it, so to speak. So I'm going to go down and kind of do a revisit review of the game and let you know, because I really like this game. I like it a lot, to the point where I think I want this in my collection one day.
Okay,
And
that's big for you.
I like to share that. And I also think that this game is underrated. I think that it sort of got lost in the mix of other games that came out around time, because let's face it, Stern's been putting out a lot of good games, in the last several years. So it's hard to kind of stand out in the mix sometimes with these things. And I think this game didn't get enough credit at the time, because the toy was really cool, but I think it got slapped for having like a barren playfield. I want to try to do it justice, because I think you can still get this game, and I'm definitely recommending it. And I call this game like Iron Man 2.0. All right, so especially if you like Iron Man, if you love Iron Man, if you have Iron Man in your collection, and you're a fan of Iron Man Pinball, I think this is a game that you shouldn't sleep on. Definitely check it out. I predict that over time it will be one of those games that comes to be appreciated, and I don't think that there's a lot of them out there compared to a lot of other titles that was recently released. So who knows if they'll ever rerun it? Who knows if the price will shoot up? But that's just my hunch. I compare this to Iron Man 2, because I remember when Iron Man came out, it was kind of slept on. It didn't sell much. People kind of didn't get it. They didn't like it. And then once it kind of got out there, more people played it. They loved it, and you couldn't buy it anymore. And that's why they've rerun Iron Man, like, I don't know, I think they're up to like 3 times now or something like that. I can see this having a lot of similarities to it. So let's talk about the gameplay. Simply said, it's just fun to shoot. I think that Steve Ritchie is not just the king of flow, but the king of shots. He knows how to make a shot feel good. He gets it. You can look at the game and say, oh, there's not much stuff on the game, but it doesn't matter. If the stuff on the game or the shots on the game are fun and feel good, that's what matters more than anything. There can be playfields that are packed with stuff, but the shots suck. They don't feel good. That's not what you want. You just want that. I get a rush playing this game, which is like Iron Man 2.0. This is the first game since Iron Man where I felt kind of that adrenaline rush. But I also felt like the game was fighting back. It feels like a battle in Iron Man. It feels like a battle against the Black Knight on Black Knight Sword of Rage. And that's like my type of game, my type of style. These kind of like these short, these brutal, these kind of like really difficult, crushing games. There's not a lot of games like that. Like Walking Dead is a game that can be brutal, but I don't feel like Walking Dead's fighting back at me. I just want to draw that distinction. This
Even
game
with like
does.
all the magnets and stuff like that, I feel like Walking Dead is a real ass kicker, and it's fight the well walker and the prison. It'll throw the ball back at you and kill you.
Yeah, you know what? I don't find that on there. You would think that, Kevin. So like the Well Walker, especially on the premium, has a magnet. The magnet really doesn't do much. It's kind of funny. I was saying the other day on the stream, the magnet on the Well Walker, it might as well not be there, because it just doesn't. It will grab it when you like start him. It doesn't even like really throw it much.
Hmm.
Yeah, you could say it's dangerous hitting it off of it, but even then, it sort of deadens it the way it kind of maybe almost like falls back. So I don't feel like I'm fighting back. And then the magnet in the prison doesn't like fling it or fast or anything like that. The worst case scenario, it holds it and drops it down the middle, which is just frustration. So that's a tough. It could be a short playing game. It could be brutal, but I don't feel like I'm fighting back. Whereas with Black Knight, you miss a shot, it's coming like a fastball down the middle right at you. You hit that flail, it's flying at you. You hit the Black Knight dead center. It's gonna you got to be ready, man. So it's definitely way more fighting back than Walking Dead can ever hope to be. And again, you can just look at the two games and think that Walking Dead should be that feeling, but it doesn't give it to me the way Iron Man or this game does. Um, this game has a one more game, one more game, one more game thing. When I first got it in the house a couple weeks ago, I just like 2 hours passed like that. I was just addicted to hitting the start and playing again, and I can do it this time. I can get it that time. This time, kind of feeling, which is fantastic. Again, Iron Man vibes all the way with it. Let's talk about the lighting. I think I never really appreciated the lighting on it when we first played it. We did a bro show on it. We reviewed it and all that stuff. Once I got it in the house and was able to control the lighting and darken it in the room, it's really good. And I don't know how much the code has changed, but there's moments where I don't know if any other game does this, but the back box actually fades. The lighting in it will kind of turn off and fade in certain moments.
Yeah, Jurassic
And
Park will do that too.
okay, it was just a really nice touch. The wheels nice, the choreography. I think Tim Sexton like killed it. I think he really gets like lighting in a pinball game. Very very well done.
That was one of the first things he did there, I think, right? Was he did lighting. I can't remember what the first game was, but he worked on a game before Black Knight, and I feel
Was
like
it
he did
Deadpool?
lighting effects. Yeah, maybe it was.
Yeah, but it just really stands out, right? Like, lighting is, you talk about Guns N' Roses and lighting. I haven't seen it yet. Obviously, it doesn't have that level of lighting, but for what it has in the game, it's just like you can tell he knows what he's doing, and there's a lot of thought went into it, and the choreography just works in that game. I think it gave me a migraine the other day when I was playing in the dark, but it was worth it.
Worth it.
The sound and the music in the game, it's fantastic. It gets you pumped with that metal soundtrack. Um, they put in an alternative soundtrack. I guess that was a more recent update,
Hmm.
and I like that. Like you asked me about the alternative soundtrack. When I switched to it, I'm like, it's like almost like a coin toss. I think I appreciate the original one, that the default one, but the alternative one works, and it's really nice to have that option. And it's nice that the alternative soundtrack is not bad, right? So you can switch it up and kind of just add more variety to the game, which is just really cool. It's like these nice touches in the game that I totally appreciate. Um, the call outs are amazing. I was telling you the other day, Kevin, that this game talks more shit, I think, than any other pinball game. I fucking love it. Steve Ritchie it's just hilarious with the Steve Ritchie voice in the Black Knight. I think there's got to be like 10 different ways that he calls you a loser. It's just so fucking hilarious. Like it gets you fucking pumped and amped and like wanting to fight him. You're like loser. It's like, and then like it calls you like a baby, and then he makes like baby noises like beep, 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 beep. And like I just fucking start cracking up. Like fuck this guy. It's great.
It might not be the game for you if you have narcissism issues, but if you're okay, if you're comfortable
Yeah.
in your own skin, then enjoy it.
They nailed it. Like this game is so mean and so cruel. Like what's funny is like this game is for pinball people, and it is for pinball people because it's the Black Knight theme. It's not for casual people whatsoever. Like this game did not do well on location. It is such a fucking ass kicker. It is so hard. But like if you're a pinball person, you're a player, and you can appreciate the ass kicking you're gonna get and the taunting. Oh my god, this is the game for that, dude. They nailed it. I absolutely love it. And then you got Ed Robertson doing some call outs. There is that. I think if you hit like this one shot over and over, he'll keep on saying "super features boosted" or something like that, and I just fucking just laugh. I like maybe introduce a little more variety there, but I love like that. Ed did such a great job. I love that he's in the game. Like that's super cool. Call outs, music, fantastic. I love it. There's some here's the one downer, and I don't get it. I'm really confused by it. So when you get into the night multi-ball, there's like I guess there's two of them. It goes into like the first one's like the Black Knight 1 retro mode. So it has like the Black Knight 1 retro sounds, but it plays the Black Knight 2K music, which we all love, right? Like,
Yep.
I almost bought like the Black Knight 2000 just for that music. It's fucking great. the problem is that I don't get it. It's almost like the music that it is the music from Black Knight 2000, but the sound quality is almost like a placeholder.
Hmm.
Like it needs to be fine tuned or something. It sounds muddied. Martha described it as it sounds like they recorded it with a cell phone. Now I know it's from the 80s, but I've heard Black Knight 2000. You can listen to it on YouTube. I've heard it because we had a Black Knight 2K on location. That sounds great. I mean, yeah, it sounds like 80s quality, but it's great. There's something wrong with it. It needs to be re-engineered or tuned up. Again, I can't help but think if it was just like a placeholder and they meant to go back and make it sound better. But it's really disappointing because when you hear that music, you kind of want to get pumped for it because it's a harder multi-ball to get to. But when the sound quality is kind of muddied and buried or something, what they should have done there is create a pinball moment where that soundtrack is louder than the soundtrack for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Just really amp it up,
Yep.
right? Because it is a missed opportunity in a moment, and it's the kind of thing it seems like they can go back and fix with code. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful they'll listen to us a little bit. I reached out to Tim because I tried to contact him before this because I wanted to ask him some questions and I wanted to do this justice because I really like this game. I really want to hype it a little bit because I think you still get it. I don't want people to miss out on a game again, especially if you're an Iron Man fan. And unfortunately, he didn't get back to us, so I'm going to do my best to kind of talk through this stuff. But I want to get to the rules, and I think this is where the game still needs some work to get to something really special. And by the way, I've not played the premium or LE. Um, I think the Pro is a fantastic game. I can't see how the upper playfield helps the game. I think it would just slow it down in my book. And I was talking to James about this from Rochester. James was asking if we were selling that game. Like, no, dude. I was like, if anything, I'm going to buy this game. And I guess he used to own a Pro, and he's like, the Pro's better. And James. James can buy any game, right? He can buy a premium LE, though it's not like a budget constraint or something like that. He'll get the game he wants, and I think he's got excellent taste in games. So I've heard that from other people. Again, I think that what makes this game special is it's such a fast game, man. So the Pro's great. Anyways, let's get to the rules. I think the biggest issue for me in the rules is it's just not obvious some of the things that are in the game. It doesn't do a good job communicating to the playfield, to the player. I'm gonna get to maybe the biggest thing. I'm gonna build up to it. First of all, rage to me doesn't make sense. So the game is called Black Knight Sword of Rage. One of the things in the game is like there's a sword that's kind of always on the LCD screen, and you charge it by hitting the drop targets. And once it's charged, activate it by hitting like the Black Knight shot, and it makes like the modes easier. So that's cool, right? Like I think you get more points, it makes the modes easier. But there's also rage inserts. So when you roll over the in lanes, it spells rage, and it gives you a call out that rage is lit or something like that. But that's just lighting a mystery. Why is rage a mystery?
Yeah, it's
Why does it
like
say
two
mysteries?
playfield features for the same like name. They should have called it something else. Like you've got the
Yeah,
sword of
and
rage,
it
then
doesn't
rage.
build up the sword thing, right? Like it just rage is like rage is lit or rage or rage. Why is it a mystery?
I don't
It's
know.
really weird. It's like there's a disconnect between what's written on the playfield and the callouts and the rules. And it's really confusing as you're trying to figure it out. And I'm not a dummy, right? Like I can absorb and digest and understand rules. So that's odd. It doesn't really there's like super features in the game like super spinner, super slings and stuff. It doesn't really explain much in terms of them. Like I don't have a concrete idea of how to start the super features. Not obvious how to start super features. I think I know what shot it is. I don't know what it takes to light the shot or if it's always available to me. So that's kind of weird because super features are kind of important in the game. But the biggest, craziest thing to me is I messaged you. I was like, you're never gonna guess how you collect a super jackpot. Like you're never gonna fucking guess.
No.
So this is I guess Tim changed this recently or is trying something out with it. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea, but this just goes into like so confusing. So what was happening when I was playing is I would see like it would flash on the screen like super jackpot 100,000 and I fucking laughed. It was like 100,000 super jackpot. What is going on? I didn't think I was in multi-ball or anything. I could not figure it out for the life of me. And what's really weird is that in front of the knight, there's an insert that says super, and you would think that when that's lit, that's a super jackpot. It's not. It's to activate a super feature. So right off the bat, it's just like it's really like what the fuck is going on with this, right? The way you collect a super jackpot is activating the magna save and then having the ball capture the magna save capture the ball and rolling over that in lane. So that's kind of creative. It's there's the intentionality of having to do that, but it's super not. I had to go online and was like, what the fuck? How am I getting the super jackpot? I think I have an idea of how you build the super jackpot up. I think it's from the super features, but also it doesn't tell you like on Iron Maiden like what the value of the super jackpot is. On Iron Maiden, you know what the value of the super jackpot is, so you can figure out when to cash it out. I don't think it ever says what the value is. So even when you're just guessing
Yeah.
when you're going to cash it out.
Yeah, it seems like a very unsatisfying way to get like a super jackpot. Like, I want to do something with the flippers to get the super jackpot, not like hit the Aper button and hope the magnet grabs it and throws it down the right in lane and not down the
Yeah,
out lane.
I'm not convinced that I thought that was bad. I'm not convinced that that's because I understand that. I think he's trying to have this be an intentionality thing, right? But
That's true. Yeah.
you got to have some call outs. You got to have some direction. You got to indicate somehow that it's ready, or maybe it does, or it just gets buried in there and it's easy to miss. And you also need to show what the current value of the super jackpot is on the screen.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just like this is a really weird game in terms of understanding what the hell is going on. And it's not like a deep game either,
Yeah.
which it shouldn't be like that. Um, okay. The the pro also feels lacking in multi-ball content. When I had this in here, I was not getting multi-ball, and you really got to go for multi-ball and stuff. Like how like a lot of games they'll have like an easily achievable multi-ball for casual players. Like casual players probably never get to multi-ball in this game, which is fine. I'm okay with them creating like a game for pinball players. Like I'm cool with that. But what ends up happening in the game is that you only see the what I forget what it's called, the 3-night multi-ball, where the lock shot. You only see that, and then maybe you get the retro multi-ball, and that's it. Like that's how all my games are. I've never even got to the second like retro multi-ball. Though it feels like the game only has 2 multi-balls in it. Now the premium LE has a catapult multi-ball. They have one more
All right.
multi-ball.
Yep.
But like, why not add catapult multi-ball by like clearing the drop targets X amount of times? Because it helps casual players start a multi-ball. And it also is just like it's a weird that there's like no multi-balls in the game kind of feeling.
Yeah.
So,
Especially for a game that's that hard. Like,
yeah.
it would give you an opportunity to play with a little bit of a safety net if you were able to play in control. And
it's a really hard game. I guess another thing that they could do is have one of the modes be like a 2-ball multi-ball like Iron Maiden does, right? Like
yeah.
But yeah, it's really devoid of multi-balls, and it just feels like that's a problem or issue. The game starts to feel a little samey after a while.
So would you the thing I said to you when we were talking about this game is like I agree. I always enjoyed playing this game when we would go to your location that had it. It would be the game that I played because it was newer and I don't know. It's like you said, it's got it's got that pinball player kind of vibe to it. I really appreciated it. And it definitely has that one more game feel because if you can get really close to starting the multi-ball or like setting up the multi-ball with a mode stack to really kind of get it going. Do you see this game being a long-term keeper? Because to me, it feels like more of a fun for a while kind of game, or maybe good in a bigger collection kind of game. What's your take on that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Kev. My first game was Iron Man, and for me, that was a phenomenal first game because it's so it's so dangerous. The ball's going to come. Sometimes games that are ass kickers like that, where the ball's coming back at you a lot, and be really engaging, right? And you can't just build up the muscle memory because you got to learn to nudge and do some saving. And I think that's what keeps it fresh. So for me, yes, for me it could be like even a good first game. For me, it could be a game in a big collection. I think it just depends on do you like the style of an Iron Man type of game that's not necessarily deep, shorter playing, but absolutely brutal in the game and fight you back. If yes, then you need to buy this game. So I want this game in my collection. I totally do. It has a great place in it. I love it. I think it's really good. But if you don't like that style, if you don't like Iron Man, then I don't think you're gonna like this game.
So what you're saying is pinball is subjective, and everybody likes different things. It's weird how
Yeah,
that
it's
works.
understanding what you like in
Yeah.
a game, right? You
hmm
know, if like I think I did a good job of articulating how this game is and what kind of a player it's gonna appeal to.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's just funny because as streamers and stuff, people always come at me and be like, "What's your favorite game?" And I'm like, I don't really have a favorite game. I have a lot of different types of games that I like, or a certain style of game. And even though I like it, you probably won't like it, or
Yeah,
maybe you will if you have similar tastes. So there's a lot of subjectivity in all of this, and
yeah. The
always
other
keep
thing I
that in
would
mind when we're talking about games.
The other thing I would say in the rules, and I think this is minor, but it can help, is that I think in the modes you're sort of fighting these bosses, these monsters. Um, ever since Deadpool added in the kind of health bar of who you're fighting, I think it would be a welcome addition in this game as well. So it will say like 3 shots left, so it does do a good job of communicating that. But maybe a health bar too, because it does feel more like a fight. It's sort of that like connection to what's going on in the game. So
Yeah, the album mode for Appetite for Destruction and Guns N' Roses has like a one-on-one battle like that.
yeah.
And you're battling the two characters that were originally in their artwork, the dirty robot and whatever the other guy is. And I did it the other day, and I did it without getting hit, and it gave me a flawless victory like Mortal Kombat. I was like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, that was really
Yeah,
good.
I like
So
that.
it makes you feel great when it's like, yeah, I kicked his ass, you know.
Yeah, when you're fighting a boss, like putting a health bar in there communicates a lot to the player. You're used to health bars and you're used to fighting something. It makes sense. And again, Deadpool has convinced me that when you have that style mode, you kind of need that now.
Agreed. It's. I think it's with the new generation of pinball programmers, kind of like bringing the video game mindset into pinball, which I love it personally. You know, maybe not for everybody, but I like it a lot.
The LCD, I won't say too much. I think they did a fantastic job with the LCD. So
Yeah,
good
I like
job.
the LCD on Black Knight a lot. The animations are really good.
Yeah, the toy I think is easily one of the best toys in
hmm
pinball. The Black Knight toy is I fucking love it. It's amazing, well done.
Yeah,
Even
he's
just
cool.
like the detail, like the glowing red eyes and how it flashes and stuff. It just brings so much personality to the game that makes it that battle.
And I know Martha likes the feather in his
Oh
hair a
yeah,
lot. She's a
absolutely.
fan.
And then topper, man. I had never
Oh man,
would buy a topper, but I would buy this fucking topper. This topper is amazing. This topper is the best topper in pinball. And I think when the Stern released it was $4.99,
hmm
and now it's selling for like 2,000 or 3,000 on the secondary market.
that
Please,
might be
Stern.
a teaser for Topper Talk. Stay around.
Yeah, please, Stern, just rerun it. I swear to God, I would almost pay $1,000 for that topper. And this is from somebody who does not like toppers. Stern, just rerun it and charge a little bit more, but don't get too stupid with it. But I think here's what you can do in this game: you buy the pro, and then you buy the topper, and I think you make out really good with this game if they can even get the topper at a quote unquote reasonable price. But Martha made I think a good observation that if it had the topper on the game on location, we probably would have made a lot more money in this game because people would have seen that topper. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely a topper that would draw people in. I feel like if
Yeah,
you had it on location though, you'd need to do the tub on top of it, like
the people don't fucking
yeah,
bash or
like
steal
try
it.
to rip it off or
I know,
screw
I
with
know.
it.
I love that topper, man. I
It's really
fucking
good.
love it
I do too.
because it's going with the Black Knight moving and taunting.
Yeah.
Like it's great.
Well, I
I
told
want
you
it.
when I had Jurassic Park, I was like, I hope they do a Black Knight style topper with like
Oh yeah,
dinosaurs up there roaring and doing stuff, and instead it's like flat plastics and some LEDs. And I was like, well, I saved myself $600 or whatever it was.
yeah. Stern just rerun it. There's a market for it when people are charging 3,000. You can
Yep.
charge a little bit more. You don't have to gouge your customers. There's something about goodwill, especially when there's competition, right? Like let's not make the market just for the ultra wealthy. Let's
hmm
not do that to pinball. You could still make plenty of profit and get it out there. Listen, don't what the hell do I know? But I really want that.
All right, I think that's gonna do it for this episode of